Welcome everyone. I'm Alexander, and this is where we dive deep into the strategies behind predictable and scalable growth systems. For those of you joining the podcast, we partner with business leaders to eliminate the guesswork and turn operational inefficiencies into a high leverage revenue engine. And today we have one of the industry leaders, Moran, co-founder and COO of Rebillia. Welcome, Moran. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. Thank you, Alexander, for having me here today. I'm very excited. Hopefully, we can help some other entrepreneurs and business owners to learn more about at least our initiative. So happy to be here.
100%, and I'm very excited to have you on the podcast today, and I'm sure you're going to be of great value for the audience.
Thank you.
Now, before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what Rebillia does?
Sure thing. As mentioned, my name is Mohan, COO and co founder of Rebillia. We are a subscription management platform. So we bring in reevaluation of the whole thought behind subscription and how it should be, and give a bit more customer centric approach and a bit more abilities of flexibility and adjustability to client needs, and helping merchant and businesses to be able to be more flexible, adjustable, look into the client needs and adjust accordingly, especially in the AI world right now, through subscription and LTV.
Okay, that's really fascinating. But for example, like what inspired you to join Rebillia?
So back in the days, me and the rest of the co-founder started Rebillia due to our own frustration. We've been all coming from the area of retail, e-commerce, consumer good, and we find it very frustrating to go and acquire a client and find out that by the time you start making money from this client, which is especially nowadays not on the first engagement, is already been seduced to go and shop somewhere else. So this whole arena of client loyalty been in a pretty backward set of mind, and we decide it's time to bring innovation to this area, and that's where we come with our solution with Rebillia, that really not just encouraging client to go on subscription, but really breaking the old model of subscription when you buying a product or a service and now you stuck with it on a regular base
Mhm.
without being able to move from it. So that's from the client perspective. However, from the merchant perspective, we learned that the merchant do not have so much billing options, and there's not so many right tools out there that can support merchant to have something more flexible. And that's where we came up with our solution that really backing up merchants to understand client needs, encourage subscription, encourage flexibility, and allow the full offering to change and adjust throughout the entire life cycle of the subscription. So we kind of walked
Okay.
in those shoes of the merchant, understood their needs, and recreate the thinking of subscription.
Okay. And for example, like if you're looking back at those early days, what do you should have done differently?
Well, I guess Rebilly is a super robust product. So we have been thinking features, robustness. We have been thinking, let's bring something really big instead of thinking of some MVP. Um, and I think that's probably one of our mistakes. However, we grow from it, and now we have a super robust product and all that experience. So it's end up on the best side. However, if to kind of summarize my journey into um, one thing, I would have started slow, investing way more in going step by step, aligning clients towards not satisfying each and every client, but more aligning client to what we have, and take it from there slowly.
Okay.
With that being said, we also been really pushing our limits and brought a really robust solution. So that's also create kind of a culture of customer satisfaction and changing our abilities, and it's end up, I guess, in a way for the best. Like every other thing in life that you do, and you adjust towards it.
100%, 100%. And I know that you like have a documented record of success in strategic business revitalization, building division from startups to millions in revenue. But my question is, what is the single most important factor you look for when identifying a market that is ready for a complete overhaul, as you did with like the subscription billing?
So I think the most important part is really to review the market and understand the next step. Like really, I think the most comfortable when you take off, and it's well known, right? You have to find a really precise problem and find a really precise solution. But I think really sometimes it's very hard to evaluate the market and understand what problem do I really solve. So I think that the market, especially right now, is really changing, and you really need to think far ahead. But also, another big thing is to always think at the client and always think at engagement. Even nowadays, in the AI generation that's starting right now, I think the uniqueness here is to really think of what my client really needs, and not just how I save on time to market, how I save on money, how I bring really efficient in such an efficient era, but more how do I create very well customer engagement throughout the entire life cycle of the project.
Yeah, so the customer satisfaction is the key success here.
Absolutely. And more than that, it's just not just the satisfaction, is also about providing, keep thinking of the market where it goes and providing tools. So when we thinking of our client, which is actually a merchant, we're not just thinking of how we align our product and what we have to offer towards the merchant. We also help him to think of his client. So we kind of getting into the merchant shoes and not just think what my merchant need. We're thinking how do we predict what the end client and the end user need,
Yeah.
so my merchant can be more successful. And we obviously working through it, through our product, but also in sideways. Sometimes we bring in partnership and complete products that might not gain revenue for us, but would help my merchant to gain more information, data, customer satisfaction,
Yeah.
just to make sure that the merchant can take more grasp of the market, understand it better, have a full solution, and that's what really strengthens the relationship and the engagement and the stickiness to the subscription abilities that they need, as well as to Rebillia as from a client loyalty perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I love the perspective here. And I know that Rebillia like was founded on the premise that traditional subscription models no longer work for the today market demands. But for example, what are the two biggest flaws in previous generation subscription models that were costing business revenue and customer satisfaction?
I think part of the biggest part here is our partnership abilities. So we allowing our merchant to be very flexible and very adjustable, and to allow their client to keep use the offering of the merchant throughout the entire cycle of the subscription. But I think something that is really big and helpful, it feels that with all um, omni-channel evolving into AI, nowadays it's all about ecosystem. And I think the smartest businesses out there right now turning from really slowly even to a one-man show, right? A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
automation, a lot of ecosystems, and ending up with a one-man show. And apparently some of the business are far away from it, but those that just starting now, it's going to be the easiest way to adapt that one man show model and an individual model. And I think that there's a few features, but one in specific that we really support in, which is a partnership feature that allow to combine product on subscription base. So let's put it in this way: if you are selling a service and but your service can be completed by another service or another product, we would allow you to offer different subscription plans on your website, when your client can have one stop shop to really shop on different partnership. And that's something that we have come with really back in the days. However, it's really matching to today's evolving world,
Hmm.
and that's part one of our really biggest feature,
Yeah.
allowing you to utilize on efficiency and bring more partners into your life as a merchant.
Yeah, 100%. But basically to create like more bundles, right? To attract the value and then to pitch the clients to like to sell more.
Absolutely. So let's say that you are a coffee merchant. We would allow you to sell sugar and milk on your website, although you have no, except for the fact that there is connection through relative products. Other than that, all you need is partnership that allow that, and you're ready to go. So really supporting on our new features those models of partnership and integration and of different components, and drop shipping as well, to really allow the traction to go all into one place and to reduce churn by not losing your client going somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So, can you share the story behind the creation of your unique AMPCCT wave and what that acronym represents in terms of customer experience?
Yes, so actually, that acronym came up when we started to think of the different features. So, this is all about address, impact is all about address, money, time, product, channel, users. So, this is all the different limitations of subscription that came up as an acronym to us. But in general, if you think of subscription, it's all built behind the scenes by limitations, right? You choosing a product on a specific price, you shipping it in specific timing to a specific address, and it's getting into one user. So that's kind of the component of how a subscription usually look like, and those the limitations that we're actually breaking into pieces, as well as for any other limitation, right? So within Rebillia, the merchant doesn't need to set up a certain specific rule that stay and stick to the subscription throughout the entire life cycle of the subscription. Everything is adjustable, flexible, and changeable, both by the merchant and what he allows, as well as by the user. So this is what those acronyms stand up for. With that being said, we are, as of right now, just really thinking breaking of limitation. There is no limitation. You challenge us to any subscription type of or any way of thinking that we cannot do, and we will make it for you. So that's really the innovation that we bring in, by just adjusting and readjusting and realigning to the client's. And I think the biggest part of it is to keep opening the mind of our merchants to make the change. I think that we will be most valuable. Of course, we can do every simple subscription out there, and there's no limitation to the innovation of rethink subscription. You can make the most simple one, but I think that we are, as a company, really bring the value to those that thinks, wait a minute, I need to make a change. So for merchants that like to get out of their comfort zone and think, am I encouraging enough subscription? Do I really think LTV? Do I really put the effort in bringing a client? But how much do I do to really maintain him and make sure that I'm maintaining subscription, but through keeping the engagement open and readjusting to the client's need versus just keeping it a very straightforward one. So in a way, impact is almost representing anti-subscription, if it makes sense. that's
Yeah.
kind of all breaking the limitations of general subscription and bringing it to what you have in mind as a client.
Yeah, right, right. Makes sense. And for example, like let's go back to your business. And when a client like comes to you, what is the tangible financial or operational cost they are like incurring by not having your solution in place? And what are the risks of inaction for their business?
I mean, I think we're pretty straightforward, right? There's always a risk. We are pretty reasonable, and I think that what's really coming to mind is we only grow when our client grow. So the risk is pretty minimal, right? You probably might gonna just decide you're trying subscription, or you might. Most of our clients already tried any other subscription software out there, so they're disattached from something familiar that you know, and there is robustness to the client, to the software. So there's also a small learning curve, right, which we really engaging. We are engaging and helping the client to overcome that as well. However, there's always a risk. To put it this way, I don't think it's honestly risky due to the business model. We
Yeah,
charge in a small amount. We're making most of our money through subscriptions. So when you grow your subscribers, we grow our funds, and that's how we operate. So we really have quite a few clients that start with us with no subscribers, and even got into quite a few millions in subscribers. So that's an achievement. Now that's exactly where uh, they would probably be happy to pay you more, right? Because they making more money, and and that's exactly where they start aligning more features and more understanding and more what is it, what else can I do for my client. I
yeah,
think
right.
also that there's two type of clients nowadays that really rely on the thoughts of customer centric approach, which is really those that trying to make a change, or those that just opening a new business and starting, an AI business in this
Yeah,
new
yeah,
world. And I think those are the ones that have the gain. I think it's harder for anyone in the middle that kind of chasing their clients' needs and not really sure about how to make changes. Those are the one probably that suffer the most in this innovate in this all innovative world right now. And it's hard to make changes when you're in certain size. um, so I think those will have to adjust fast and kind of take the risk and make the move. So overall, the risk is pretty reasonable, but also must be done.
right, right, right. So basically, it's a win-win situation. Like by the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and for example, like in your opinion, what is the number one reason that they like stalls or goes cold in your pipeline, even though like they know the clients, they know they need a solution.
So I think overall, the fear of change, right? Component of changes, that's what usually, and that's not necessarily my client, that's in general. I also think of myself when I'm trying to create a change. This is never just open a switch, right? You have to think of it, you have to learn, you have to educate your team, you have to align your other systems. So that's basically every time you're trying to make a change, you really have to make sure you align. Actually, if you think of if you're not afraid of changes, or you're not thinking through it very deeply, you're probably not going to end up with a really good change. Change is hard, they're supposed to be hard, and they're only good if they bring in real innovation, which does take a toll from a business, but again, must be done. I think that if in those days, any business that doesn't think I must create some change on one way or another,
Yeah,
um, again, due to the AI and how it's affect people, will really stay behind.
yeah, it's a different basically sophistication level of the prospect, and that's why, in my opinion, I think.
Right, and I think those again that have the hardest part to adjust are those that already in the process. I'm even telling my own kids it would be so much easier for you to open a business right now with
Yeah.
AI versus to something established as us or any other company that really established to run on the day to day and the general operation and apply different solutions because you have to do both, right? We all imagine that when we're going to get to the place when AI replacing a lot of the component and it's going to be so much efficiency and such a release in so many ways, and there's so many stupid things that still being done by humans. But I think the transition is what's make it really hard for a lot of businesses because they still need to do the day to day.
Yeah.
Plus, they need to implement new ideas in any component. Right? I don't know one business right now that doesn't apply it on sales and marketing and customer success and development and HR. So when each component of your business needs to go through a change, um, you have to do it, but you have to do it, in moderation, and you have to do it smartly. So sometimes it's just easier for those kids. Everyone can be an AI
Yeah.
agent today, right? So when they come in and that's their first business or the second business, or they don't have a really huge operation behind them, just to go and get started seems so easy. So uh,
Yeah, and like you already said, I mean, it will be like much more one man shows. Even it will not be a surprise to see billionaires as one man shows.
I think it's easier today to become
Yeah,
billionaire when you're one man show, right?
100%.
You open your mind to all this new innovation, and all you need is to learn about new tools or develop new tools. That's all. That's really the main component.
Yeah, exactly. And you also like mentions that the platforms learn like subscribers patterns to like predict and suggest adjustment months in advance. But can you give an example of a predictive adjustment that helps a business mitigate churn before it happens?
Yes, and I cannot talk on everything in in that setting, but I will try to give
100%.
a very relevant example. So we have talked about coffee, right? Now, and I'm choosing coffee because coffee is something that is pretty much predictable, right? Most people drink kind of the same coffee every day, and they know exactly if they are the type that drinking 2 cups a day or or 5 cups a day. It's kind of a very predicted business. With that being said, the routine of all the component that we talked about of completing products, as well as changes of traveling, changes of seasoning does make an impact. And our software really helped to learn how the client behave, as well as to help to adjust. But also, this is not just about predicting that the uniqueness of the software is that the actual user can go and make changes, obviously, that are applied to the business. But I think the data and the analysis behind it can teach different patterns and can teach different component of general needs, right? So for an example, if I have 3,000 clients that buying coffee X, and now I added to my component sugar and milk as well. And out of those 3,000, I noticed that 2,000 of them also buying milk and buying sugar, but some of them, maybe thousand other thousand, just buy milk but do not buy coffee, but they do buy
Yeah,
tea.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the time to make maybe more tea partnership. Or so it's not just predicting the abilities of the client and what the clients need, but also what kind of other services and other activities I can do as a business to align more to my clients' needs. So the software really do both. Um, Understanding the client needs and helping the merchant to understand how to grow their business in other ways.
Right. And for example, like I know that you like aim to level the playing field between like small e-commerce merchants and giants like Amazon. But my question is, what is the most sophisticated subscription feature that Rebillia provides that was previously like only accessible for companies with unlimited funds?
We don't have anything that is that is customized to unlimited funds. I think that's the big part of the software, and kind of I think the robustness. I think that the only things that um, are for those that, and again, we're not talking about unlimited funds, are those that come in with a lot of unique needs. And it could be every different unique needs, and like to take the general features and turn them into a very specific ones. And but also I don't think that I think one of the big component of Rebillia that our software is robust enough to make changes that doesn't need a lot of engineering or a lot of component of engineering into it. So nothing here is for the main giant. You might not be able as a, you know, a few months startup to afford every feature out there.
Mhm.
But Rebillia is with a set of mind. When we started Rebillia, we started it with plug and play of save credit card on file. That's how we started. And the goal of Rebillia were back in the days to help the general merchant, so not the giants, not the main giant businesses, for everyone to have abilities of the giant. So this is kind of the general set of mind. And while we are serving and very much into enterprise today, we are also can serve any size of business. And I think
Okay.
that sometimes, sometimes there's expectation to hear about specific verticals and really who are your clients, and I can definitely segment that, but overall we insist in that as a software, if you have subscription needs, we will tweak it around yours and merchant, and it's not about who else I serve, because we are have the abilities to tweak service into your special needs as a business. And it's kind of a new approach. Many people have hard time to adjust to it. I think I'm hearing it all the time. Yeah, but who are your verticals? But what you're really good at? And
Yeah, right.
kind of have to go backward and repeat. We are, if you have a need, we have a match. And the more unique that need, the more we would be able as a company to surround our kind of, we have a really good body, robust body, and we
Yeah.
just know to kind of match the specific head towards your need. So this is what we do best. I also think that it's end up in a way that a lot of, so the reason many enterprise and many a bit more mid-sized companies are generically and organically coming towards those needs and looking for a better solution is due to their ability as a company to look for new solutions. However, it's not necessarily mean that it would be hard for a small business, or I would not say small, but small, any SMB, to find their niche and get what they need from us. So
Yeah,
um,
right.
really encouraging everyone out there to give it a try.
100%. But for example, like to talk on specificity, like for SaaS and e-commerce businesses, which specific subscription metrics is the most dramatically improved by implementing a dynamic billing platform like Rebillia?
So I think that the implementation here of I would start by saying that I think that we bring most uniqueness to those that have now with this new world a combination on SaaS plus e-commerce component, right?
Yeah.
If you take the car industry are now have component of SaaS, plus it's moving towards sending, shipping, and delivering things as well. So it's have kind of those components. So really big on the component of the combination of SaaS plus e-commerce due to our abilities to be flexible and bring different component of subscription together. So that's one thing. But overall, if you think of SaaS, or if you think even on, let's be more specific, of AI agents, right? So we said that any kid can become an AI agent, right? They all can come and use some other components and build a business. But then they trying to scale. And when they try to scale and they become big and they need more robust billing solution that reviewing tokenization and rethink monetization, just not just by taking a monthly fee every month and using tokens. So when you combine all those together and bring unique billing needs, especially with AI, that's where we shine and we can help to build a business that is multi-layered by different financial component.
Okay, okay, I see. And it sounds like you're ahead of the curve in many ways, which make me curious about your growth plans. So, how are you looking to grow for the next year?
So for the next year, we actually have quite a few exciting project on the line, quite a few different partnerships. So we see in 26 as the partnership component year, and we have on the line quite a few interesting partners. So that's where we're gonna aim our time and effort. So less just going directly towards client, but more creating those strategic partnerships that really allow us to have more of those ecosystems that we talked about,
Hmm.
right? Because we're not just
Yeah.
trying to bring it to our clients. We also really believe in those component of partnership and bringing our clients more solutions. So we really tweak to those solutions where we are allowing more component of products, and we also integrating this year our product in quite a few different um, channels as well as partners, to really spread our abilities and allow others to enjoy the our creation, I would say.
Okay, and one questions about this, for example. So, are you available just in US market as a app, or are you like in multiple markets as an international one?
We are There's so many ways to purchase Rebillia. So we are in specific marketplaces that anyway are global and international. We have started our way back in the days with BigCommerce, so a
Hmm.
lot of our SMBs coming from their arena. But however, we definitely integrating through APIs to any software and out there. So it's not about how we can integrate into any business. It's more about where to find us, right? So the
Yeah.
partnership is more about the go-to market strategy, but from an integration component, there's almost no business that cannot use us.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense now, and it sounds like a really good horizon.
Thank you.
And as you wrap up, like for listeners who want to learn more or potentially work with Rebillia, what's the best way to get in touch?
Okay, so you see my name out there. So if the first thing you can do is look for us in LinkedIn, you can reach out directly to Moran Mizrahi Rebillia through LinkedIn. Definitely can follow us on LinkedIn as well as Instagram, that we started honestly not so long ago, as well as Facebook. And absolutely can have a lot more information in the website, rebillia.com,
Perfect, perfect,
which is
perfect. So
rebillia.com.
yeah, perfect. That's perfect. So thanks for joining me today, Moran, and for this amazing podcast session. And for anyone listening, make sure to check out Revelia socials below in the description because this episode was packed with value, and I can't wait to see what you build.
Thank you, Alexander, for having me here today.
Yeah, thank you very much, and see you on the next episode.
See you.